or things of that nature. Why is it that the homie Hugh Jackson was criticized this week by mainstream media? Another reason for you guys to continue to listen to the end of the bench, because I'm not going to talk out both sides of my mouth, and if it seems as if I am, I'll explain why I am. But with that being said, you had Rich Eisen and a ton of other people criticize Hugh Jackson for stating after his first victory in almost 2 years, in more than 600 days, why did he just name Baker Mayfield a starter? The question I have is, why not just respect the man as a man and doing his job? He's doing a difficult job by coaching a team full of young people. Very young, inexperienced people, for one. For two, why would you ask him to name that guy and defame the incumbent quarterback by the name of Tyrod Taylor without even talking to the man? Everybody knows that Tyrod Taylor is just holding that seat for Baker Mayfield. This dude was the very first pick in the draft. If you are not playing exemplary football and you got somebody who was picked to take the job that you have, you already know if that dude ever gets in the game, you're going to get Wally picked. In other words, you're going to get benched if you just playing average. Ask Tony Romo, ask the greatest, arguably the greatest quarterback in the history of the world. The New England Patriots gave Drew Bledsoe $100 million to be the starting quarterback. He has a ruptured spleen, almost dies on the field, comes back at the end of the season. He's never started another game for the New England Patriots. Excuse me. He's never started another regular season game. He did start a playoff game for the Patriots, but he never started another regular season. After he won that playoff game, Tom Brady has been the starting quarterback ever since, outside of being injured. So everybody understands that Baker Mayfield is going to be the starter. So for you to bring about criticism and look at the man sideways, as we say in the hood, give him the side eye about announcing the who's the starting quarterback in the next game, seeing how we have a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to go before you even have to play another game. How about this? Respect the fact that he has the respect for his locker room and everybody on his team, and he's going to do the adult and professional thing by talking to Tyrod Taylor man to man, looking him eye to eye and saying it's over, you're now the backup quarterback. Well, shut the hell up. See, that's the thing. You want the players to live by some fictitious code, be professional. You want me to do this and you want me to live up out of these rules, but you want to create chaos in the midst of my locker room, and then when I lose my locker room, everybody looking at me like you're attempting to look at my timeline. This is why I have issue with mainstream media. This is why you hear my voice right now, because stop telling me one thing and doing the total opposite. Stop asking me questions that will create a chaotic situation, and then when I don't fall for it, criticize me for not allowing you to create a chaotic situation. And if I do fall for it, criticize me for being stupid enough to answer your question. This is a problem. This is why I have a problem with the mainstream media. But even with that being said, the New York Jets, they're headed up by an excellent coaching staff. The New York Jets are doing the exact same thing the Cleveland Browns are doing. The difference is they have a quarterback by the name of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is going through growing pains. He had a very good week one. Started off his career with a pick six, and he took off like a rocket. What we have to understand is while we're looking at the Jets and looking at the way they are developing that squad, it's going to be growing pains. This dude is a rookie quarterback. He's going to have big interceptions game. He's going to have ebbs and flows. And if you don't think so, please learn what the game of football is all about. And you'll see why Sam Darnold is the New York Jets starting quarterback. It's never going to be a situation. You will rarely see a situation whereas a rookie quarterback comes in and lights the league up. Now, if you want to remind me of Dan Marino, please do. Please do. Tell me about Dan Marino. But then, after you tell me about Dan Marino, what I want you to do is tell me about the other 6 guys that did that. So, whereas you have the mainstream media, again, attempting to create chaos by defaming Todd Bowles. Oh, he's on the hot seat. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not on the hot seat because they hit the reset button and it looks like Woody Johnson and that crew are going to stick to the plan. They have what they believe is a franchise quarterback. They've slowly rebuilt the offense. And what's going to happen is, if they're patient, I do believe Todd Bowles, Woody Johnson, and Mike McCannon, I think that's his name. I think they'll rebuild the Jets. But with that being said, big ups to Hugh Jackson and his crew for finally pulling off the victory. Keep it. Hopefully, you'll keep it moving. Next week, you got the Raiders, which should be sweet because the Raiders coach is a damn fool. It's gonna be should be an easy lick. 2 in a row. Big up to Hugh Jackson, my man. And with that being said, what I'm gonna do is break this down in segments so you don't have to hear me break down the entire league, which would be boring to us all hell. So I'm gonna do this in segments, and then we're gonna get the rest of the show going. Now, what I'm gonna do is make my predictions this week. As everybody know, I do predictions every week. I'm having a terrible year. I'm at 50%. 50% is not terrible, but it's terrible if you think you're good at something. So this week you got the Saints at the Falcons. The Saints are in Atlanta. Oops. The Saints are in Atlanta for a game versus the Falcons. This is a divisional rivalry. These two teams know each other well. This is the problem. Like I told you 2 weeks ago, Drew Brees is on the precipice of passing Peyton Manning for a couple of the most glorious records in the history of quarterbacking in the National Football League. Most yards and most touchdowns. It looks as if Sean Payton is going to attempt to get that for him. And in that attempt, he's straying away from a game plan that I think they won 12 games last year, at least double-digit games. They won the division last year and they did a 180 in regards to their previous 3 years. I understand that Alvin Kamara is a smaller back. He's a scat back. He's an offensive weapon. Mark Ingram is gone for PED abuse. He's been suspended. But what you guys need to do is figure this out and get back on track in regards to the running. Another issue that I'm going to take up a little later in the show. Now, the Falcons, they have their issues also. They got he's not a new, this is second-year offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian. I'm not a big fan of his because it took 2 weeks. Actually, it took a season and 2 weeks for you to get your act together. Last week, the red zone, they were more creative, they were more dynamic, and they were looking very effective. So, here's the situation. Are you going to continue that ability to be diversified and attention grabbing, or you going to go back to the same thing? You have too many weapons on Atlanta Falcons to be struggling the Reds, and you got one of the most dynamic running backs. You got Julio Jones, if not the best number 2 or 3 in the NFL in regards to wide receivers. He's 6'3" tall. Even though he missed practice this week, Julio says nothing. Something he does all the time. I do believe that's a lot to do with playing on turf, but that's not a conversation. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on podcast. But it's going to be very interesting. With this game, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Falcons. You know what? Excuse me. I'm going to go with the Saints because the Falcons are so beat up. You don't want to go into a game against Sean Payton with a beat-up secondary and beat-up linebackers. This is a recipe for failure. Even though the Saints are on the road, they took a drubbing last week at the hand of Greg Williams and his awesome defense. I don't believe that Matt Ryan is built for this. He's soft, in my opinion. He's average at best. Only his best days are behind. His best days are sporadically appearing, and they've done that his entire career. I'm gonna go with the Saints for the bounce back win. Then you got the Redskins versus the Packers. Now you got Aaron Rodgers primarily on one leg. Even though I don't think the injury is as bad as they led on to. I did see him scramble last week. Even while he's scrambling, he was looking better than most quarterbacks. He's hobbled, but the Redskins don't have a whole lot of talent. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Jay Gruden. With that being said, Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers, they got the running back from PED abuse, and it looks like the Green Bay Packers will pull off another one. You got Muhammad, you got Matthews. The Green Bay Packers defense is looking a whole lot better than I anticipated. Not great, but if you can be solid with Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball, you good. The next game is the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Colts. Now, this is a game that is going to be very interesting. You got Carson Wentz, potential league MVP last year due to an injury. He wasn't able to do that. I think that's kind of bogus anyway, but that's a whole other conversation. Versus the Colts with new coaching staff, a new outlook, a new attitude. Andrew Luck is back in business, and it's going to be interesting. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is awesome. Awesome with a capital OS. But the running game is suspect. People, if you run to win, you throw to score. Winning, scoring points, win games, playing defense, wins championships. I'll give you all the bromites that you want to hear in regards to basic football wins games. Football is a basic game, a simple game, but it's difficult to play at a high level. Every bromite I've ever heard in my life, I can shoot it off at you. And this game is a microcosm of that. You got two quarterbacks coming off major injuries. Andrew Luck was misdiagnosed and missed almost 2 years. Walker 2-Wentz blew out his knee last year about 9 months ago. It takes 9 to 11 months to heal. He's right at 9 months, 2 weeks. This is going to be interesting because of the two major cogs in this are not at 100% for the most part. Now, you're going to have to depend on defense, something that the Colts just don't have a lot of. They don't have the talent. They don't have horses to do this. But they do have a very creative offensive mind. Doug Peterson, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, he's creative offensively as well. But you also have to realize this dude hasn't competitively thrown a football. Last time we saw him, he was throwing a touchdown against the Rams. He hasn't competitively thrown a football in almost a year. So this is shaping up to potentially be a very ugly game. Even if it's going to be a very ugly game, I'm going to go with the Eagles simply because, again, the defense defense travels. Even though they're at home, no matter where you are, inside, outside, new coordinator, old coordinator, if you can play some defense, you can play some defense. They're getting after the quarterback. The Colts don't run the ball well. And with all those factors, you have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. So for my first 3 picks, I'm going with the Saints, I'm going with the Packers, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember, I told you we're going to have social issues on this show, and here's the first part of my social issue, man. I had a buddy reach out to me today, one of the homies, man. I used to do a show with him. His name is Gordon Chip Battle. Chip found it necessary to question my stance in regards to not watching the NFL. Now, I know if you're new to the show, you're going, man, how you got a sports show and you're not watching NFL? NFL, one of the biggest games in the world. To that, I respond to you and to Chip that 3 hours in each football game, every football game in the world lasts about 3 hours. There's 16 football games. That's 48 hours of football. At what point in your life did you believe that I was watching 48 hours of football to do this show or any show I've ever been on? So you were trusting and believing that I had the wherewithal to watch at least one of those games and then do research on the others. So if you haven't received any garbage information, any foolishness, any ideas pulled out of my behind outside of predictions, if you've been respected, I do believe I have a very good track record in regards to the information I've disseminated over my show for the last 3 years. If you trust my information, that means I've been doing a relatively good job. Now, all I've done is made it so I don't have to I'm not doing research on 14 games. I probably was watching 1 or 2 games a week back when I was watching. Now I'm doing research on 16 games. Just how I had the information on 14 games, I get the information on 16 games. Now, back to this issue at hand. Why am I boycotting? I'm not boycotting. I'm no longer watching the NFL. Boycott means you have the ability, you have the option to come back. I'm never coming back. I'm going to treat the NFL like you would treat an abusive mate. And how would you treat an abusive mate if your mate slapped you or beat you up or mishandled you or abused you in any way? Most people would like to believe, all of us don't do it, but most people would like to believe we would be upset, walk away from that person, and never go back again. I do believe at this point the NFL has treated me and my community like something that they could dispose of. And what I mean by that is this. The brother Colin Kaepernick, he stood up and said, hey man, I'm not going to do this with I'm not going to stand up for the national anthem. First and foremost, he said he loved the country. He has people in his family in the military, so he respects everybody in the military, but he's not going to stand up for the national anthem as long as nothing is being done about the killing of people in his community. I commend him for that. At no point did he say anything disparaging about America, and just like since I used the analogy of having a mate, Just like when you have someone you're dating and